Alrighty. Well, welcome everybody. Happy Thursday. And we're on our Going for Gold and Beyond Challenge call. And I'm very excited to have our guest tonight, Diamond Ambassador Susanne Clinton. And she's going to be sharing some thoughts on leadership. And I know I've already got a few questions that have been sent my way. So when we're all done, I'll go ahead and kind of run those past you. Okay, Susanne?
Sounds great.
Alrighty. Go ahead and take it away.
Okay, Trisha, thank you for having me on this call. I love the group that you have Going for Gold. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I actually have a thread going on just different team members that are, I know it's Going for Gold and Beyond is yours, but mine's Going for Gold, like silvers that are really trying to hit gold, because I remember when I hit gold and it was huge and it was such a big deal. I had, you have 20, 21 members on your team, and it's just such a big accomplishment. So I love it. So thank you for asking me. Okay, so my topic is leadership, and I picked that topic because I love it, because I am daily striving to still be a better leader. I think we all are probably. And when I was thinking about what a leader is, I actually looked it up in the dictionary. Well, not on the internet, but not in the dictionary because I don't even know if I own one. But it said, the definition said, someone who leads, follows, or commands an organization. Now, I don't like that word command because that sounds dictatorship.
A little militaristic, yeah.
It sounds very military, yeah. But I thought it had some good words in it, leading and following. And it also, another one said, the one in charge, the leader is the one in charge or the person who convinces other people to follow them. John Maxwell is one of my favorite authors, speaker, whatever. I think a lot of us have heard of him. He writes many, many amazing leadership books. I've read many of them. He has a great conference. Sonia Dudley does an amazing seminar about just your mindset matters and all that. And he says that a leadership is basically influence. And so he's even written books that say, that's called like the 5 levels of influence, or how to win friends and influence people with somebody else. But he talks a lot about how leadership means influencing people. And so that was kind of the first thing that I thought of as well when I'm thinking about what is a leader and how to be, to show leadership to your team. So for me, I feel like if you can learn to be influential, people will follow you, and you'll learn how to lead. So if you think about just different jewels that you might know, most of those people are influencers, okay? Or they've learned how to be an influencer. And I want to tell you guys, even if you're not a jewel yet, I'm sure there's lots of you on here that are not, please know that it doesn't mean, I'm not saying you're not an influencer or you can't be one. I think if you even have one person on your team, you are a leader. You are an influencer, because they trusted you, they believed in you, they wanted to follow you, they wanted to be a part of what you were telling them about, whether the products and the business. So you are a leader and you are an influencer. But we have to remember to act like a leader. So for me, I just kind of thought of some characteristics of a leader or an influencer. And what does that mean to me? What does that mean for me to get people to follow me and to be a better leader? First of all, I think it means just having high integrity. And a high moral compass. That was a huge thing for me. When I first started the business, I was going to duplexes. If you just jumped on, go ahead and hit the mute button. Just in the lower left-hand corner. I think we have some people unmuted. Just in case.
I'm going through and trying to mute anybody I see. Okay.
You're hearing that? Okay. But anyways, so when I first started, my husband and I, it was a big deal. He said, look, integrity is huge for us. We want to do this business in the right way. We want to make sure that, we're not putting our integrity on the line in any way, whether it's through, pressuring people or just going about it in the wrong approach. So to me, someone who is a good leader is going to have that high integrity and that high moral compass. And, your audience and your friends are going to know if you have that right away. And a lot of it is just by what you post on Facebook. What kinds of things you're posting that's non-plexus. Are you posting negative things? Are you posting, your baggage on Facebook? I always say leave politics. in your baggage off of Facebook. You can go tell a friend that, okay, if you have an opinion about that. Just feel like that can start different negativity. But your people, your audience and your friends, they're going to know. And so for me, I wanted to follow somebody, Jen and Celeste are my upline. They were my very good friends in college. I knew that they had high integrity. I knew that they had a high moral compass. And so I wanted to follow them. And so be that kind of person to be a good leader. Also, like I just mentioned a second ago, just positivity. A good leader is positive. I think I had someone tell me, and actually it was just the other day, actually, Alec Clark, he says, the things that you're saying, you need to make sure, say it was something that you were stressed about or it bothered you, whatever. He says, you need to always be taking it to your upline and not to your downline. So that's very important, just to be that positivity in someone's life. Again, if you have somebody negative in your life, is that somebody you want to be around? Is that somebody you want to follow? Is that somebody who is an influencer to you? Probably not. That just brings you down. So be that person who is positive, who is encouraging, and that's definitely a good leader. And if you need to even just kind of check yourself, just look at your even your team page. My team page is not perfect, but I don't really have much negativity. I just don't. I don't have any, people aren't negative, and if they are, I take it privately in a message and say something. Just ask them if they need help, if they have questions, whatever. But it's just not negative. So make your team page a very positive page as well. Another thing is just kind of going with the whole positivity route. A good leader is someone who doesn't major on the minors. For example, okay, so somebody's order didn't ship in the time that it usually is supposed to. And I know, granted, we've had some struggles over the last few months that have been longer shipping delays, but in the grand scheme of things, is that what really matters? We want to get the items into their hands as soon as possible, but we know that these products are amazing and we know that it can be life-changing. And so, or another example, if someone, for example, says no, you reach out to them and you ask, hey, are you interested in plexus? Or you give them some information about the products or whatever, and they say no. Are you really getting down about that and deciding that you're just upset and you know what I mean? And it's just not worth it. So you don't focus on that. Say if you get a no, okay, if you get someone, maybe even someone gives you no response. I know we've all gotten it. You send somebody a message and crickets, you don't get any response back. Don't focus on those things. They are actually minor in the grand scheme of things. But look at the big picture. Tara Robinson just told some of us jewels today. Last month, Plexus had over $50 million in sales. Okay, they are growing tremendously. It was their biggest month yet, and there's so many things ahead. We've got some great new things coming up. So keep that big picture in mind. That's what a good leader does. They keep the focus on what's ahead, what the future is going to look like, and don't focus on those little minor things that kind of get you down at times. Next, I think a good leader is someone who's willing to say the hard things, okay, and even take risk. It's so hard. I don't like conflict. I'm a people pleaser. It's just not in my nature. I just don't like the conflict. And so, but sometimes you have to say the hard things to people. For example, we learned at a jewel training recently, one of our trainers was saying, if you have a team member that keeps coming to you and saying, I can't get any team members, I can't get them to join me, this and that's happening. My customer said they didn't have results, whatever it might be. Or maybe you see something in them that they could work on and they could focus on. Sometimes if they come to you and they're complaining about that, you might need to say, you know what, so-and-so, would you be willing just to let me tell you what I think might be holding you back? Say it graceful, say it in a way that would, don't tell them they're, an idiot or something, but just say it in grace and love. But that's a hard thing. That's hard to say, okay, this is what I really think, is your struggle, whatever it is. But you might need to do that to help them push past whatever it is that they're having trouble with and get them to realize that this is what they need to do. This is what might make it better. But that's kind of a hard thing. I've had to do that before, and that's difficult. Or are you willing to take risk? Risk being reaching out to people that you're kind of uncomfortable reaching out to. Maybe making a certain post, maybe making that phone call, maybe doing a meeting. There's a lot of people out there that are really nervous to do meetings. Meeting does not mean it has to be in a room full of 200 people. Okay, my first meeting was in my living room with about 12 of us sitting around. We didn't know what was going on, but we just did it, and so that's taking risks. So someone who is willing to take those risks is an example of a good leader. Okay, sorry, I'm my notes. Okay, another thing for good leadership to me is someone who has unwavering belief and commitment. We all know, or those of you that have been in the company for a while, that Plexus has incredible products. They have an incredible business, a credible comp plan. There's so many testimonies out there that it's too many to count. But just so you know, your team will know if you are kind of that person that struggles with belief or commitment by your actions and your words. So you want to, even though there are struggles, there might be some struggles, you need to still continue to build belief in your people about the company and about the products. Find testimonies. If you're struggling with belief, go find testimonies. There's a million out there, a ton. Read them over and over, how many lives it's changed. Excuse me, I need to get a drink. And then commitment. Are you committed to your business? Does it show to your team? Or do you disappear for a week at a time? Or maybe you didn't get the result you wanted or the answer you wanted back from a potential. Or, maybe you lost an ambassador, you lost a customer, and you're just inconsistent. You might be showing lack of commitment. Make sure that to be a good leader, you want to have that commitment and be consistent with what you're doing. And remembering that a committed person to Plexus, maybe not trying another company over here, is a good thought. And remembering that you are all in and your team knows it. Again, your team knows, they can sense if you're committed or if you're not by your actions, by being there, by being there for them whenever they need you, posting on your team page consistently, doing all that, but being committed to your business and to your team members, because that's your job. Okay. Sorry, I have the notes kind of written everywhere. Okay, I just want to say this too. If you feel like, speaking of leadership, if you feel like that you maybe have not quite figured out how to be a leader or an influencer, maybe you're sitting there and you're thinking, I guess I'm a leader. I don't really know. I know I have team members, but am I a true leader? Can I be an influencer? Will people follow me? I want you to know that you can. It is sometimes a learned practice of how to be a leader. And I am that perfect person. There are some people out there that are just natural born leaders. They know what they want. They're ready to go for it. They feel like they know how to lead a team. Most of those people have never led a team and they're still learning. But for me, I didn't know if I was a leader. And I'll just share kind of a quick story. When I first started with Plexus, it was new to Little Rock. I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas, for those of you that don't know. No one knew about Plexus. I had done another MLM, but I wasn't a leader in it. I did it for less than a year. I didn't really, I just did parties and then I was done. Anyways, but Plexus was built a little bit different and you have a lot of team members. Well, I grew pretty fast, grew this team and kind of didn't know what I was doing. I'm sure none of us know what we're doing when we first start. We kind of just have to figure it out. I had meetings. I just had a few meetings at my house over that summer right after I started. in my living room. We ended up having to expand later. But I just jumped in and I just did it. Okay. I just did it. And so I was learning how to be a leader. I had no clue. And in fact, 7 months in, Alec Clark even called me and he was like, okay, I need you to lead the very first Super Saturday ever in Little Rock. Okay. You're the leader and here's this book. You need to read this book and you're going to do it and you need to speak. And I had never spoken, except for just being in my living room with some people that were on my team. But I just had to jump in. I just had to do it. So I think a lot of times you just have to jump in and you just have to do it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything to say. You don't have to know all the answers. There's many times and still today where I say, you know what, let me back to you on that. I'm not quite sure, but I will get back to you on that. No big deal. Don't be intimidated by that. Were my meetings perfect? Absolutely not. No, they were not perfect at all, but I did them. I did them anyways. And I will tell you guys that I am still developing over 3 years later, I'm still developing my leadership skills. I am not perfect. I'm far from perfect. I'm still trying and desiring to be a better leader. And I will say, even being a good leader for me personally was a lot about having belief in myself. I really struggled with that for a long time of feeling like I was a good leader and that I could do it. I was a diamond ambassador and I still struggled with that. And I will say that it probably wasn't until this past January, after speaking at Super Saturday and some other things that had happened in my business, that I finally thought, okay, I'm a good leader. I can do this. I believe that I know what I'm talking about. No, I don't really know what I'm talking about. No, I do a little bit, but no, I can empower others. I do have knowledge. I do have skills. I can do it. So I just want you guys, just want to be honest with y'all and just know that that was a huge struggle for me. Yes, I was growing in my business, but I wasn't growing personally well. And that kind of actually leads to my next point of being a good leader, which is making time for personal growth. Okay, you have to make time for personal growth. I didn't know anything about thinking that was important when I first started. I just kind of thought that I was just supposed to kind of, say, okay, join my team, or here's some information about being a customer, here's some information about being an ambassador. And I didn't realize how important that I needed to focus on myself, which includes belief, affirmations about myself, that I can do this, that I'm knowledgeable, that I can speak well, that I can help others in the way they needed to be helped, that I can lead. And so if you are not investing in yourself personally or in your team members, I would really encourage you to do that. There's lots of books out there. Like I said earlier, John Maxwell has a ton of books out there that you can find and just get together, read it yourself, or get together with some other team members and really focus on that. But I will say, one of the number one things that holds people back from growing from their business is the lack of personal growth. And they don't realize what it takes to be a leader, things about themselves, the belief thing, all of that, that can be holding them back from growing in their business and taking off. So start now. I totally wish that I would have done that sooner. Just a few tangible things as far as what to do daily and different things that I have done just leadership wise, and I touched on this just a minute ago, but being consistent is huge. Consistency. I have taken some days off. I've gone on vacation. You need to do that. That's Plexus freedom. You knew that. But I have always been consistent, meaning I always follow up with my potentials. I'll follow up on Fridays if I can. I'll follow up with ambassadors. I will still be in touch with my team page. I will connect with other ambassadors and on my team and check in with them, level ones first and foremost, and then on down the line. Do you need anything? What can I help you with? So consistency is key in all things. Posting on Facebook, again, following up, doing 3-way calls is huge. Coaching calls is another thing that's really good. One-on-one. I love one-on-one coaching calls. That's a really, really good thing. And that's how you can kind of keep in touch with your team members. But don't get overwhelmed by it. I feel like I've talked to a lot of people that have been overwhelmed just of the fact of leading, 10 people or 20 people or 100 people, however many people you have on your team. But this business is not meant to be overwhelming. It's meant for you to be able to speak into other people's lives, to change lives, to help them, to help people become better, to educate people, all of that. But just know that it takes time to learn and it takes time to grow, and you don't have to know all the answers right away at all. Like I said, I'm still learning and I'm still trying to develop myself as a leader. And also, I will say this, I just thought of this, but I've had a lot of people say that, oh my gosh, I just get multitudes or I just get so many questions by all my team members, so many questions. I will say I get questions, but I don't get a million questions. And some of that is that a lot of times if I get an inbox and they ask a question, sometimes I just don't see it, or maybe they call me or text me or whatever. I kind of wait a little bit for them to see if they can find the answer, especially if it's something that they can find. And then they'll come back to me and say, oh, you know what? I just found it. Never mind. Bam. That's helping develop leaders on your team, because they are going for themselves. They're finding the answers. They're doing it themselves. And another thing to develop leaders also is encourage them to lead. Don't do everything for them, even when it comes to events. There is how many diamonds here in Little Rock? There's like 8 diamonds and like 21 jewels, okay, just in our little area. But we have meetings and I'm always getting a senior gold up there. I'm like, you know what? You get up there. You can speak. You can, not for the whole meeting necessarily, but do a segment of it. Or I'm getting a ruby up there, or I've had some golds. But empower those people on your team and get them to start learning how to lead, so that when it's time, and it's time from the very beginning, but you know what I mean? So that you're having these leaders early on, and they're knowing, not only are they building belief in themselves that they can do it, and they can train, and they can do Zooms, and they can do calls, but so that they will develop into a leader for their own team and hopefully pass that down to their other team members. So those are just a few tidbits I had.
Well, I love it. And you answered one of the first questions that was given to me, which was, what should you do daily to kind of get your members to be better leaders as well? But I love that consistency, empowerment. That's some great ones.
Yeah, and I wrote a few things down because I did see that question on your page. Your level ones are your most important. Meaning everybody's important, but that's who you are responsible for. So always be in touch. So what I do for daily is I am really in touch with my level ones that are working the business, and I'm really trying to help them. Like I said early on in the call, I have a Going for Gold thread on Facebook Messenger, and we just talk daily, pretty much. Okay, what are you doing now? What are you doing next? I'm keeping in major touch with them. Most of them are my level ones. There's a couple that are, I think, a 2 and a 4, but they're working their business. They're trying, they're going for it. Another thing that's good is to set up Zooms with different legs. I'll take different legs, like level ones that are working it, and we'll get on a call with them, and we'll try to set up something and kind of strategize, and depends on how large the team is. Sometimes I'll just pick a topic and talk with the leader. If it's a smaller team, then we can all kind of interact and talk about things. An IPA chat group is really good too. I've done IPA. IPA, if you don't know, it stands for Income Producing Activities. Get in a little chat group. You're trying to get them to reach out to 2 prospects a day for a month or for 2 weeks or however long you're doing. That's really, really good. Just kind of a way to kind of daily, you don't have to do a whole lot. They just have to check in and say, yep, I reached out with 2 people, and maybe they have a question, or they'll respond back to you about what happened that day, what was good for them, what didn't work for them, all that. And then, of course, encouraging personal growth. I'm constantly encouraging personal growth as a daily thing for my different team members. And then of course I have a team page. I'm trying to find different, if you were silver, if you were gold and above, or if you're, I have a lot of even silver too, get your own team page, because that starts building that relationship and that connection with your team members. And they'll look to you as a leader. So that's always really good. But just finding different things, information, ideas, training that you can also, that's kind of a daily interaction that you want to do with your team members as well.
Great. And I think that kind of tags into the other question that was talking about keeping the momentum going, because I think that IPA chat is a great idea. I have a few leaders that are doing that, and they're seeing really great successes with their team that are doing that, because it's holding them accountable a little bit more. And then you've got a little bit of the peer pressure from the other people on the team kind of keeping you focused.
Definitely.
When we go to convention, we're going to hear all about Leaders Retreat, because that's the next big thing that comes after convention. Question that I got in the chat was if you have any advice for leaders on helping their teams get there as well. Because I think sometimes we have leaders that they're there, they've got it, but they're having that struggle to bring people with them. That's kind of a twofold question, because it includes customers along with ambassadors. But what would you say is the best advice you can give to a leader to kind of help their team get there?
Okay, so you have to earn it. You have to earn Leaders Retreat. I don't know what the credits are going to be this year, and it's always based on, like you said, it's based on getting preferred customers, PV, and then getting ambassadors, getting new ambassadors. So obviously, if you want to get them there, you got to focus on those three things, which is pretty much our business. But I would do different challenges. You could even do like there was one going, and that was what kind of, I saw a question on there about, getting your team engaged and excited and momentum and all that. Silver and 7 is a challenge that some of us, somebody started, Sarah Taylor or somebody like that, and I've done that on my team page. It's basically trying to get your team members to silver in 7 days. Or even if they're already silver, I let them participate too. They can go, your goal should be to try to go silver each month, adding 3 team members. So do a little challenge like that, make it tangible, easy things that you can do of how to get to silver. And that's one way. So you're adding ambassadors to your team. So those team members, are going to get credit and credits towards Leaders Retreat for that. So focusing on that, and then helping your team members promote whatever rank you are, helping them promote obviously is going to help them to be able to get there. It's going to help you to be able to get there. And then like the customers, doing a 7, and I guess I'm just a fan of the challenges, but because I feel like if I can make things simple and duplicatable and feel like somebody I can do these 2 tasks today, then I feel like it helps people. I've done lots of different, I've done a 7-day mindset or 10-day mindset challenge. I've done a 7-day, Plexus 101 challenge on my page before. I've gotten more response from those easy little 7-day challenges than probably most anything else, because I really feel like people realize I can do that. I can go message 2 people today, or I can go make this type of post on my Facebook and try to engage fitness people. I'll make a post about a product that would draw in people that are drawn to fitness. Or I can add 10 new friends to Facebook today. Okay, I'll add them. I can do that. So I think those challenges are really good for getting people engaged and going and all that. I didn't mean to veer away from the Leaders Retreat thing, but
no.
I think just getting people into activity, just getting them into doing things, doing DMOs, should have a result of getting those new customers and getting those new ambassadors and all of that, challenging them to make a non-Plexus Facebook post, because you want to engage your Facebook audience regardless, and to make a business Plexus post. Or then today, let's make a product Plexus post, just kind of changing it up. But yeah, and sometimes I even map it out. Who is it? Nikki Hinkle. She's really good at she's done this for me. She'll make a chart that says, okay, this is how many people I need. Because a lot of times, and I just talked to some team members yesterday about this, you want to set yourself up for the next month. So some people might say, well, I know I'm not going to hit gold, for example, this month, but I want to set myself up for June to hit gold. So I need 6 people to do that, or whatever it is, So be always looking towards the future, and that can help with Leaders Retreat. Be thinking about, okay, this is how many people I need to qualify for Leaders Retreat. This is what I need my PV to be. This is maybe how many preferred customers I need to be. Kind of just doing the math, sitting down. You've got what? June, July, August, September. Pretty much 4 months to do it. Okay. Is it usually September 15th?
I think it's September 15th last year.
Yeah. It'll start June 1st probably again this year. So 4.5 months to do that. So I'm glad you even said something, Tricia, because we just need to be thinking about it now, to set yourself up for earning it.
Right. I figure we got less than 2 weeks to prep for June. So
that's right.
Keep everybody focused. Now, I know you mentioned something that was really key, which I love, which was really focusing on the training and development of your level ones. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have someone, let's say you have a level 1, you've had a strong conversation because they're not duplicating it down and they've got a pretty nice sized team. How have you addressed that in the past? Because I've been seeing that happen a little bit more lately, where we're getting people who are reaching a level and then they're not quite doing what they need to be doing as a leader. They're really kind of leaving you to handle it, or maybe their sideline is taking it. Have you had any experience with that and what you would maybe do?
I have had, the first thing that popped into my mind, it wasn't necessarily my level 1 because this just happened recently, but she was struggling with that. She's one of my stronger legs, but it was her team. It was her strong level 1s that were struggling with that. And so she was just like, I gotta get these people to step up. I feel like I'm doing it all. And, we talked a lot about what I said earlier is, okay, are you what's the word, empowering them or challenging them to lead themselves, or are you doing it all? Are you, and so she said, well, I'm kind of trying to do it. But so they're finally stepping up because she said, she tried to give them, kind of some easy things as far as, I think one was like, okay, let's just do a quick, why don't you help me lead a personal growth book challenge book or something that they were doing that was, I don't know, a month or 6 weeks or something like that. So that was one thing she did. And another one was like the little Plexus Power Hour type things where you do the little online events. And so I think she tried to do it like, okay, let me do these with you. Let's do them together. Mm-hmm. And then they kind of figured it out. And then they were finally able to have that confidence probably to step up and do it themselves. It doesn't work every time, but I think if you can, sometimes it's about your approach and how you speak to people, how you talk to people, make them feel like they are a leader, they can do it. They have, certain gifts or whatever that they can to do it, and maybe doing it with them and then kind of releasing them to go do it themselves. But yeah, and it's helped her. It's really, they've finally kind of stepped up. It doesn't work every time, but I think you can do what you can to challenge people. And like I said, I stress a lot is a lot of times it's just, they needed to grow personally themselves too. And I think they were already working on that as well.
Yeah. Well, you're right. It's not always going to be a silver bullet. Not everybody's going to respond the way we would like them to. And I think sometimes, you mentioned it, being a leader is sometimes having to have those hard conversations, mm-hmm. but it's how you approach it. Because sometimes you may have a rock star level 1, but maybe their leaders, their leadership ability needs some growth because Absolutely. They were afraid to have that conversation. Because I know that's probably the biggest challenge I see in direct sales. I mean, I've been in sales management my whole life, so having hard conversations is normal for me. Mm-hmm. I do them all the time. But other people don't. It's so hard because they're friends and family often. Mm-hmm. And it's so hard sometimes to separate the personal from the technically professional with direct sales. And Absolutely. So it becomes a little bit more challenging.
And that's why in that Jewel training, I don't know if you've gone to it yet or not, Tricia, but in the Jewel training, that's why what I said earlier, they said, and I was just asking Elizabeth James, how do you say it exactly? I was trying to remember the exact wording, but it was something like, especially if someone does recognize that they wonder why they're not growing. They wonder why this isn't happening or this isn't happening. And, again, your approach can be, you know what, so-and-so, would you just be willing to let me kind of tell you what I think you could work on or might be holding you back? I mean, you're saying it kind of graceful and you're saying it loving and not making them feel silly about it, but just knowing that, hey, here's some things that I'm just seeing and what I think could probably help you with that, whatever that is. So,
and I like that approach because you're asking for permission to be able to be constructive.
Asking for permission is key. That's right.
Yeah. Because I think that's challenging because some people aren't open to it.
You're right. And sometimes they might say no, hopefully not. But I think they appreciate that when you ask rather than saying, okay, here's the deal. This is what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. Right. And then they do feel like you're telling them they're an idiot instead of, hey, here's what I've noticed over the last 30, 60 days.
Absolutely.
I'm grateful that you're letting me share this with you. These are some things I think you can improve upon.
Yeah.
So, thank you. I think we've kind of gone through all the questions. My gosh, I took some great notes, Susanne. Thank you so much. It was an absolute wonderful, wonderful call. And I thank you so much for being on this call with us tonight.
Well,
and
thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you so much. And everyone have a wonderful evening. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.